forgot to press record.
Perfect. Only because we got all that boring shit out of the way. Now we can jump right into the real thing. The wheels are greased, so to speak.
Well, this is now the audio part, but we do have the scratch audio
Fuck that.
of everything else.
We got nothing but time, baby.
So, the first podcast I forgot to press record.
They don't know that. They don't know that shit.
They know it now.
Now they know it.
Now they know it. Where am I? Yep, there I go. Look at me tooling around.
Manny Tools Around.
This is not a home improvement podcast. We were talking a lot about how
Secret.
Nick is going to come out on this podcast, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not yet. You gotta wait till the end.
Wait till the end.
Deeply closeted.
Deeply closeted. Fuck.
No, let's take it from the top. Let's start.
We can take it from the top.
How many veins on Wolverine's arm is too many? Well, I certainly don't know. I'm excited to get into this.
Alrighty. Now, welcome to Manny Tools Around, Episode 1. My first guest is Mr. Nick Callas.
Hey, how's it going, folks?
That's him. That's our wide. This one's for me. And so we're going to start this as if we didn't just start it already.
Shh, they don't know that.
Yeah.
Take it from the top. Why don't you tell people what we're doing here?
Nick, we're doing a podcast. It is called Manny Tools Around, the podcast where I go to the guest's house and make an entire podcast studio out of their living room, annoy the shit out of their roommates, and interview them and get to know the comic and see what they're all about, tell some jokes, fuck around, and
Our favorite things to do.
yeah.
Also,
Pretty much.
you're certainly not annoyed, my roommates. My people know you quite well because you, like a true godsend, came to Texas and shot my first special.
I did.
This was August.
Let's start off on your special.
Do you want to start off on the special?
Let's open on the special,
Sure.
man.
All right,
That was a fun time in Austin.
That was a blast. It was a very special time in my life.
It was fucking awesome, and it happened to be my birthday weekend.
Yeah.
So like we had a blast
That
down there.
night of your birthday was one of the funnest nights.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
And it was, I mean, you've been to Texas before.
Texas, but not Austin.
Right. Okay. Because I hadn't been to Austin before either.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time of any of us running around and like doing the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
That was fun. So
Super fun.
It's quite a comedy town.
Yeah. And also like, I don't know, and you'll have to tell me actually, I have a lot of questions for you about me, as gross as that sounds, but I wonder, looking back on that weekend, how did I come up? Because here's the thing. When you shoot a stand-up special, and if you choose to be as involved in it, in the creation of it, as I was, you do wonder, because I've directed a lot of things before, narrative shorts, sketches, and I'm always, one of my biggest concerns is, am I somebody who people are enjoying working with, and how much of my decision-making throughout this creative process am I satisfying things that only I would be satisfied upon finishing this project? What I mean by that is like, okay, so I'm being harebrained and I'm making all of these little suggestions, possibly demands of people's time, energy, creativity. Is it serving the product in a way that serves everybody?
Are you
Most
asking
specifically
if
the viewer?
If you're being a gigantic pain in the
Was
ass?
I being a huge cock?
Were you being a cunt?
Was
no.
I being a cock?
No, you were fine.
Because I was in my head the entire weekend.
I would assume so.
If not
Yeah.
as a
It
comic
was a
about the
big
material,
deal.
also about,
Yeah.
did I eat poorly in a way that's going to affect my energy for the second show or for the
Right.
first show? When I make a request of one of the cinematographers, am I pinching for pennies here? Am I being a dick? Am I
Not at all.
overstepping? You know what I mean?
Not
I'm
whatsoever.
highly concerned about that every time I do something.
No, you're good. Yeah. You weren't a dick at all.
That's good.
Yeah, I work with a lot of directors and I work with a lot of producers. And like people can be real fucking assholes on set. And like way in their heads and like egos and all sorts of stuff. And you had none of that, which was pretty nice.
That's great. I mean,
Yeah. And the shows went great. There were
shows
stellar
went
fucking
great.
shows, dude. You guys have to watch this fucking special.
thank you.
All four of those.
Yeah, we shot 4 shows
Mm-hmm.
to tape the special.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know
And
what?
they were all stellar.
Thanks, man. Let me
Yeah.
let me ask you, because I haven't actually, after the show, and my brothers came out for the tapings, and one of my buddies, Luke Burke, who's a comedian, he opened, and as did Britt Miggs, another friend, both very funny and talented. After the shows, they go, that was great, and then people after the show go, that was hilarious, that was amazing, but I haven't had a real conversation with anybody about what they thought, so I'd love to hear what your experience of
My
it
experience was where, I mean, to be honest, there was points where even though I heard the joke 4 times, I was behind the camera and I was just like still like laughing, like the delivery was spot on every single time.
That's awesome.
So each show was great.
Thanks, man.
Each show was fantastic. So I think, in my opinion, you did fantastic. And I was surprised too, because sometimes I'm just like, all right, I know Nick. I mean, I shoot for you, quite a bit, especially this year. I met you this year. I met you, back in February.
I was gonna say we haven't even known each other. That
No.
long.
But
Well, we met in February, and then we probably hadn't seen each other again in person in a
probably, I think, till the summer.
right.
I think till the summer, and then just kind of reached out and said, hey man, like, want me to shoot some shit?
So glad you
And
did.
you're like, fuck yeah. We just became buddies. Yeah,
It's one of those things where
very wholesome.
very wholesome. I was talking to my girlfriend about this. Is like, there's certain people you meet, and I don't know if it's just qualities. I'm sure we could like describe and define, but like, it happens so quickly. Where you're like, that guy's just my kind of guy. It just flows, just natural.
Also,
like,
sometimes a lot of comedians have like a lot of like get away from me, like you're an op, shit like that,
yeah.
But like,
oh yeah.
you were like one of the kindest ones that I've come across, because
Thanks, man. Well, the truth of the matter is there were a couple people when I started that were very kind to me. Ryan Reese, Mike Racine, a couple others I'm forgetting. Sam Morrell, who were like, they're not doing anything extraordinary, but when you're brand new, you can't get on stage. Your whole career is a dream that you have that you're trying to make into a reality in small ways in your life. And I was maybe 2 years in, and Mike Racine asked me to open for him at Caroline's, and Ryan Reese took me on the road to do some colleges, and Sam Morrell would just he would talk to me whenever about anything, and really reassured me and welcomed me into comedy. And he was at the time maybe further along than I am now, and I was 19,
right.
So he wasn't the celebrity that he is now,
Right.
But he was a
He's
huge
huge,
fucking
fucking
he was a
huge now.
huge deal to me then.
Yeah.
Because he was playing New York comedy clubs. He was past the
He
Comedy
seems like a
Cellar
really
and-
nice guy. Also, I mean,
Really
I've
sweet
never
guy.
met him. I've said hi to him once, but personally, I listen to a lot of like We Might Be Drunk, and he just seems like a pretty nice dude.
He's the
So.
kind of guy who, however he feels about something, I go, he's probably right. Just because he's very level-headed, very reasonable guy. But anyways, so I also, aside from that, have never really
People
had...
have like held out a hand, like an olive branch.
Yeah, well, here's what I'll say. They've been kind to me.
Yeah.
And if it was not an enormous thing for them to do, they would help me. And those 3 guys made me feel welcomed in comedy and gave me a shot, which made me feel like I belonged. But I never got like the big celebrity reach down, pull you up by your bootstraps, and gift you a career.
Yeah.
So few of us do. It's not something you could be entitled for or even ask for, really.
Yeah. That's just something that's like winning the lottery at that point, But like,
that being said, the things that they did do for me and the other things that I wished would happen, I've always, since I've kind of gotten over the hill of like being an actual professional comedian, I've tried to have a very open door policy about people being around me. And because here's the other thing too. People don't know what it is, especially when they start, and they don't really understand how difficult, how much time it takes, and how much any one thing that seems like it could be a big deal isn't going to change shit. So in a way that I hope is informative for them, just to acclimate them to the reality of the lifestyle, I always say like, hey, if you see me doing a comedy club and you've never been to that comedy club, or you want to meet the people who work there, or see what it is,
Yeah.
and you see them do it, come.
That's what you said to me.
Yeah.
That's what you said to me. And I feel like a lot of the times people will say that and you hear it and you're just like, maybe they're just being nice, and you were 100% sincere about it.
Yeah.
And that took me by surprise too.
Well, also, I got a vibe.
Especially being,
I just thought you're a cool dude.
I mean, I know. But no, but like especially me being like a generally young comic, like not in age, but like
Sure.
and doing it. Yeah, man, that's you taking me, along with you to tool around,
To tool around, baby.
to Manny Tools
Yeah,
Around.
I
man.
want 10% of all of the proceeds
You
from
will
this
get
podcast.
10%
'Cause
of all the proceeds. You
I
got it.
effectively created it.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, so that, 12 years doing stand-up, never had an official release. Because here's the thing. I started comedy and have now been doing comedy over what is a pretty interesting time in stand-up. Like the lifetime of stand-up, this last 12 years that I've been doing it, it's changed a million little different ways.
Oh,
And
yeah.
now it's not what it was. When I started, it was the ending, but we were still in the phase of you get past at all the comedy clubs, you work the comedy clubs, you get an agent and a manager, they send you out a bunch of auditions, but really the thing they do for you is they get you in at like Comedy Central or a late night show. You do a TV spot, you do 5 minutes, maybe you get JFL, depending on what your talents are and what
Right.
you want to do. Maybe you become a writer for a late night show, maybe you do stand up on a late night show, then you get a Comedy Central half hour, then you tour and you do an hour,
That's
and
the-
now you're kind of
that's
a
the process.
mainstay comic.
Right.
That's fucking gone. A little bit it still exists, but we're oversaturated by way of comedians.
Right.
And there's also so many more opportunities, and each opportunity means less for your career in terms of long-term viability. So I understand that, and part of why I want to involve people in my process and have them around is like so they can see what it is for them, and then also selfishly it's fun to collaborate, and it's helpful
It is.
to me to have people who can
And this sparks my creativity too, because I
Sure.
love shooting like comedy skits. I love shooting like these like fun,
We have a good rapport
videos.
too.
We do. Yeah.
We do.
100%.
We have a good working relationship. I don't feel like correct me if I'm wrong. I don't feel like I ask you of things you can't do technically or otherwise. I feel like if I throw this at Manny, he's gonna be able to handle it. I don't even have to know what I'm asking. And then I also feel like we have a good shorthand where not as much needs to be said.
Yeah, like I pretty much like understand what you want for the most part,
Yeah.
And if I don't, I'm it's just very just like what do you want?
Yeah.
And then
the weekend of the special was a special weekend because, me, you, Luke, Britt Miggs, who I've been, bro and sis with for almost a decade.
Shout out to Luke and Britt. They did fantastic also.
They're like,
And Jimmy from Austin.
yeah, Jimmy Clifford.
Jimmy Clifford, he was also. It was all great. They were all
Everybody-
stellar shows.
Dude, I felt
Yeah.
really blessed.
Yeah.
I'm not granted. I was in my head and anxious about every little thing going that way, but it did all go smoothly, and it put me in a position to succeed with the first show because people will see when the special comes out. We filmed 4 shows. I used about 80% the first show we did. Like I remember when we cut after the first show, Joey, who is the lead DP, came up to me and he was like, "I think we got it," and I was like, "Yeah." And now I'm going to use these other 3 shows to get as much more and just have a spoil of riches.
Yeah.
So I did.
Yeah, I think I remember you playing around with like 1 or 2 different jokes each.
Yeah. Well,
Each of the
for the 7:00 show, because there
Yeah.
was a 7 and a 9 Friday and Saturday. For the 7:00 shows, I did the same set.
Yeah.
For the second 7:00 show, I had cut a couple things that I was like, this isn't going to make the special. I was touring with it. I was used to doing it. It was probably doing better earlier on in the tour. At some point, it gets rusty and it dies.
Yeah.
Sometimes they come back, so you got to keep them. But I was like, all right, throwing those out. They're not going to be in the special. Because even if we used 100% of that first 7 p.m. show,
Right.
I didn't like
You
how
don't-
they
you-
played.
you don't
so
want
I
that
cut them. And then I put a couple other things in there. And then for the 9:00 shows, I had the same opener and the same closer, but the 40 minutes in the middle were different. And it would just by way of 9 o'clock show, I'm not up until 9:30, 9:40. People are more tired, but they're drunker, so there's a different energy.
Mm-hmm.
The nature of the material that I was doing for the 9 o'clock show was a little more polarizing. I didn't feel like that stuff, which was never the plan A material. It'd be nice to have all this too.
Yeah.
Because if I had everything gone perfectly, it would have been an hour and 50-minute special with like kind of A side, B side.
Right.
And some of that went great, some of it didn't. But I got what I wanted between all four. I was like, I have 110% of what I want this special to be. And even now, still, I'm like, I would have done this differently. So, like I came up with a tag for a joke that is actually a better closing to the joke. It's not even a tag anymore. It's just a better ending to the joke, which would have been in, like, the B side of the material. And it hit me this week, months later.
Right.
I'll tell you what it is. You remember the joke about... It goes like, my ex was black. She's still black.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Yeah.
so it goes into this whole thing about pet names being different in a mixed race relationship.
Yeah.
'Cause this black girl I dated would call me white boy.
Mm-hmm.
And it hit me today that, I go through all these examples and scenarios. And it occurred to me today that the only thing worse than white boy that she could have pet named me would have been master. And that hit me today. And I haven't done that joke in months now because I retired it. And I was like,
Right.
oh, fuck.
Right.
That's the joke. That's almost the whole joke. That's what the joke is about.
Punchline, yeah.
Because I reference like slavery and guilt and all these things. And,
Right.
but that's comedy, right? It's like sometimes your brain evolves as you go, as
Yeah.
you live. And then like the jokes are snowballs. And as they roll, they just connect to other ideas and shit.
Right.
But yeah, so that was a super special weekend because of what we filmed. But what I was going to say was that like me and you and Luke, because me and Luke have bonded being on the road together, shooting things together. Me and you have bonded over time, shooting stuff together. But the three of us that second night really got, and the first night too, but we really got to just spend a whole night together and the work was done so we could just fuck
When the work
around.
was done, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was definitely less stress. You definitely seemed less stressed.
Yeah, I wasn't myself until we were done.
We went out like, we stayed up super fucking late. Tired as fuck.
Super late.
But that was a fun time. I would love to go back to Austin.
I would like to. I was talking to a comedian named Tori Piskin about co-headlining at the Creek in the Cave. So if we do that, you'll come.
That'd be dope. I'll totally come. 100%. Man, what do I got? What else do we have here? Let's see. I feel like I'll add that at the end, but for now, let's see. We talked about your inspiration earlier, but I think it was it might have been cut. We're still rolling, right? Yes. Right, good. Thank God. So your inspirations, you were talking about a lot of your creativity comes from childhood and art and your love of drawing and acting. And that's what kind of sparked you to do comedy.
Yeah. Well, I have very specific memories of quoting things from movies or telling a story.
Right.
And feeling that people were, again, I don't mean to sound self-aggrandizing. This is what it is. Feeling that people were like a little transfixed or captivated when I was like doing a thing, whether it was like, mimicking Jim Carrey or Dane Cook or something, and like or Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle, like all the people I grew up on, the Wayans brothers and stuff. Like when I did it in school, it was almost like they were seeing it.
I always forget about the Wayans brothers. They're amazing.
They're
fucking
still
good.
amazing.
Yeah.
And like like Scary Movie, like the show, everything. Love
the whole family. I mean, is all.
Yeah, they're
yeah.
But so I could feel as a kid that something is different and special when I do this. People really, really like it more than like I think that's what I recognized talent to be, is that like what I'm doing anybody can do, but when they do it and when I do it, it's different. And it doesn't only make them feel good, it makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
And it becomes this cyclical thing where performing is refueling to me. And that becomes your social identity as a young kid, where you don't really have much else to, to attach yourself to. Like, what's my value socially?
Right.
For me, it became like, I'm going to make people laugh. I'm going to be really funny. And then within that, there's choice and creativity about how. about what I'm gonna do and say, because a lot of people are funny, but to be funny in a way that is like unique to you, that says something about you, because you can't go your whole life quoting Anchorman.
Right.
You have to
Yeah.
represent yourself, your stories, your perspective, and then when I felt that people saw Nick is funny, when I felt that and heard that,
Yeah.
I started to feel like I had an identity. And then comic books and drawing comic books became a different special thing that was a bit more private. I would still, I'd have these amazing moments where if I showed somebody something,
Yeah.
and they were
Show
like, "Wow,
show the camera, man.
hey camera."
Show the.
So
That's
this,
your tight. That's our wide there.
I mean, it sounds silly, but like,
That's just for me. But yeah, all of them, all the cameras.
I don't know if it's on autofocus, whatever. This is who I am creatively. That
Yeah.
like I am. It's so I don't even give a fuck. I'm an artist. Sometimes it's stand-up comedy, sometimes it's rap music, but like I am a maker of things.
Yeah.
I create.
So it's not just like comedy that like one day you just I would love to be a stand-up comedian.
No,
You're just
and
like,
I don't
just
even
wanna,
call
I just
myself
want to
a
do
comedian.
art. I just want to do
Yeah, I just want to make
something-
art.
Yeah, you
Just
want to
want to
make
make
art.
And
And this is
I-
just one of the things that you happen to do.
It's one of the things I do.
Yeah.
And I do all of them. I think I do each of them as well because to me,
No, you definitely put your heart and soul into it.
yeah. Well, I think I put my time.
A lot of
into
everything is time. This
Time.
whole thing, like just to get it, it's been like an hour, right? Probably like
Yeah.
more than an hour to like really do
and
all
it
this stuff.
should. I think that's why
Yeah.
I'm so like.
Because you want it to be good. I want it to be good. Like I want to set up a, I want to do it right.
And
you know?
I struggle in the modern. I struggle in the sort of modern creative climate with the instantaneous nature of make post
Mhm.
because people want to see your day. People want to see what you're thinking when you're walking down the street. That's not me.
Yeah.
I am a procurer. Like I
Right.
cultivate an idea. I really build it into something that's worth people's time. I don't really give a shit. Or maybe for some people that is what you want from them.
Right.
Some people are funny in the way they just pick up their phone and blah, blah, blah. That's great.
Yeah.
I would rather take my time, make something bomb,
Oh, me too.
and then give it to you. I like long films. I want to see a long film. I don't want
Yeah.
to see Christopher Nolan make a short film on his phone and then put it out same day.
Yeah.
I want to see what is your brain capable of because one of the advantages of your brain is that you can compound thought and time. You can make something amazing over
Yeah.
time. I
Well,
like
that's a whole other
improvising.
thing. You were talking about how a comedy has changed quite a bit, probably post pandemic, and like with it, everything has to be like instantaneous, right? People's like attention spans are nothing because of like and TikTok. A lot of people become TikTok famous, and that's how they become
Right.
like. I mean, Rife, he got that he got that lottery, and a lot of comics too that I see is just are they become famous. I remember watching Drew Lynch. And I saw him on Facebook, and like years ago, and I'm pretty sure that's what really got him famous is just like all like the internet. It's like the internet, like it's like the social media. It's like that's what that, and he's hilarious and he's absolutely well earned.
Right.
But I feel like that's like the short attention span of
Yeah.
everybody. Everybody wants to put out like like I have to put out a TikTok or like a selfie or a reel. Like I have to do this,
Right.
this.
Right.
Where I don't post very much.
I don't
'cause
know if I
unless it's
have-
good.
It's hard, dude, because
It's so hard and it's so time consuming.
how many thoughts a day do you have worth 5 million people's attention?
I don't have any.
I don't know that I care to.
It's just
That's
like,
not the
it's a
form-
lot. So and some people are really good at it though. Some people
are
like
great
some
at
people
it,
are great at it.
and that's what they do, and like
Yeah.
more power to them. But I don't
But
know
you-
that I'm
you-
interested in being that.
You put out a lot of stuff though, and it's like it is funny.
It is funny that I say that because I do put out a lot. But
Yeah.
it's all because I did 10 million things last month, and now I have the harvest.
It's just over time, so you just have like a whole
Yeah.
stockpile of shit to talk about.
Yeah, and also
Yeah.
like how I service an audience is just-
Service and audience.
I masturbate all my
course, yeah.
viewers.
That's why I
um,
come to the shows. Yeah.
It's I just want to make the thing that I want to make, and then give it to these people, and then it's theirs now.
Right.
But it's got to be the thing I want, because also I serve a lot of different masters creatively. Like both in terms of, you know, the form, be
Right.
it like music, stand up, acting.
Like
but
your
then-
your masters being like the audience that you're.
Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah.
or the genre or the form, right? Like this is music, this is comedy. I do a lot of different things, and so I'm always feeling like I owe one of them something.
Right.
Creatively, I'm always like, oh, I gotta do, and then I never stop having ideas while I'm doing that. So I'm always shooting something.
Right.
And then by the time it's out into the world, it's not even, I don't even care about it anymore.
Right.
So I do have to figure out how to do that and feel better about that. But the other thing is like within each of those genres and forms is a different influence or a different idea. Like stand-up comedy, I write one-liners sometimes because sometimes it's the best way to express an idea quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But then some jokes can only be a long act out, or some jokes can only be a very physical thing.
Right.
Some of them have to be a sort of argumentative satire. Like,
Yeah.
and it's hard to balance all those things. Like, I think now with the special, my goal was like, let me be me, but also give everybody the sort of sample platter.
Right.
Whereas I think for the next one, I would have just spent a lot more time crafting exactly what the point is.
Right.
Yeah, because there's a narrative through line and there's a beginning and an end.
Because this one is called Wolf Pup.
Wolf Pup.
Wolf Pup.
Yeah.
When does that come out?
Probably last week in January, if not first in February. We
Cool.
got the final cut today,
Nice.
so I got to watch over that in the morning.
Good shit, man. How long did it take you to cultivate your hour that you said this is the special?
Yeah. Well, I started touring 6 months before we shot it with an hour and 40 minutes worth of material. I was doing about an hour and a half of it. I was trying to do an hour and a half of it at each of the shows. I would get to like an hour, sometimes an hour 10, and be like, this is too much. These people don't want this. And it also isn't narratively compact enough. Like it doesn't work thematically as a singular show or idea, so I can't stretch it. I can't do an hour and 40, so I started chopping stuff away.
Yeah.
But if I wanted
That'd be hell
to,
of a special. I've never seen a 2-hour special. I don't think that exists.
No, and it shouldn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't even.
That's
need
insane.
To, there's only
Yeah.
5 comedians I would watch an hour of, and
Yeah.
there's a million-hour specials now, and I'm
Yeah.
actually being conservative. There's 10 million.
Right.
Everybody has one, and a lot of them are just an hour's worth of jokes or 45 minutes worth of jokes. I wanted mine to be a special. I wanted, because here's what I think about myself within this. I think I am confident that I'm somebody that people want to see do an hour.
Yeah.
I know that the people who like me and watch my stuff, they want as much of it as possible. So
Well, anyone you're a fan of,
yeah,
I'll
somebody you
watch
want.
Chappelle for an hour. Like,
Mhm.
I'll watch, Sam Earl, Mark Norman for an hour. Like, I'll watch like every special.
yeah.
Yeah. If I didn't want to, sometimes I'll put on a special, and I don't want to watch them for an hour.
That's most
Yeah.
for me. It's really hard for me to watch.
And it's not because it's not good. It's just because it's just for some reason not my cup of tea. Or like it didn't captivate my attention.
Right.
But when
And
I
there
love
might
a
be
comic,
somebody.
I'll watch 2 hours of their shit like back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I could watch clips of Norm Macdonald for 2 hours
Yeah.
straight.
I could do like a whole George Carlin marathon.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. No, there's no such thing as too much when it's your guy.
Yeah.
Um,
Or a lady.
oh, of course
Or a lady. Women.
Of course.
Women can be funny too.
they can if they,
They
want.
can if they want.
Just do it.
Just fucking do it.
Do it already. We're waiting. Can I?
Nick said that.
I'm gonna grab coffee. Keep talking.
Yeah. Do your thing. Do your thing.
It's very casual.
Nick's gonna grab some. I like it. It is casual. That's why I wanna keep it casual. Considering I am a guest, while having a guest. So I guess to not make this go on forever.
No, it should. I want it to go on forever. Ask
It
me.
can't.
What do you
want to
know?
go on forever?
What can I say
do
to you
wanna
in the
know?
context of this conversation that's gonna do something to your life?
To my life?
Yeah,
What?
whether it's just informational, like what's something you want to leave here having experienced that
I
can
should
do
have
for you?
something where that I learn, because I definitely want to learn something from each person I interview.
Well, what's something I've never said?
I don't know.
Help me
You've
say
never said
something.
it. Just say the N-word.
No. There you go.
What advice would you have for comics coming up, starting out, from your personal experience?
You know, I wish I had a great answer for this. I don't think I do.
Every answer is personal for everybody, I would assume.
Well, it's interesting because when you ask that, what you're essentially asking, the way you've asked it, is go back in time, tell yourself what to do in order to succeed.
Yeah.
I don't know that I feel capable of that. Like, I don't know that I have, because I wake up every single day and I try to do that.
Right.
So
Well, it is a marathon.
it is a marathon.
Comedy's definitely a marathon.
It's definitely a marathon. I would say take a lot of chances, like creatively risk things. Don't be scared. If you're
Yeah.
going to go on stage, don't be scared.
Yeah.
What you're doing is ridiculous, and you should be scared to do it. So if you're going to do it crazily.
Just do what you want to. Just say what you want to say.
Fully. Say what you want to
Yeah.
say. Be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to compute with people. Why is that guy? I do handstands and
Yeah.
splits. Like, what is that?
That's awesome.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Chad.
Giga Chad.
Giga, always.
Yeah.
But yeah, do wild stuff,
Yeah.
and then also
That's
chase-
great advice, because sometimes I write something, I'm like, that's kind of fucked up. Maybe I shouldn't say it.
No,
or
I think
maybe
you should, because
Yeah.
here's what's
It's
gonna
not
happen.
like racist or like anything bad. It's just dark. Like my humor tends to be like pretty dark.
Yeah, I like how dark your humor
Yeah.
is. Actually, I think
Yeah.
it's one of the
I have
things
a
that
pretty dark sense of humor.
that's one of the things I like about you and your comedy is that.
Thank you, man. It's all trauma based.
Well, it's also I feel comfortable with you because I know that I don't have to pretend anything. Like,
No.
I'm just like Manny's funny and fucked up like me.
Super fucked up.
So if I say this to him, he's gonna laugh.
I will laugh every time.
Yeah, which I need that because
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Because I live in fear of so many things,
Right.
and I need them to be
I
acknowledged.
have a ton of anxiety.
We're both extremely
Oh yeah.
anxious guys.
Yeah. I took Xanax just to do this podcast. I think it was mostly because I have like anxiety. I know you don't drink, which is fantastic. I'd love to.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I'd love to. Yeah, I mean sobriety. Sobriety is something I should have written down
I
actually.
can, do you want me to wax poetic about sobriety?
Be poetic about it. Yeah, I mean, because it is for me personally a goal that I would like to achieve. Maybe not in its entirety down the road, but like just to be at a point where, it's not my social lubrication.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because that's the main reason.
Well,
It's so hard to stop.
Here's what I think is interesting about that for you. I've been around you when you're drunk. I've been around you much more when you're sober. And
Yeah.
I would never say Manny is a guy who needs alcohol for me to enjoy him at all, actually. I think I would, if I didn't know you, I'd be surprised to know that you feel you need to be drunk to be okay, which
Right.
is understandable as your
Right.
experience.
Right.
But, consumer facing, I don't think anybody
That's
would
good to
feel that
know.
way about
Yeah.
you. Yeah. No,
Thank
dude, you're
you.
such a nice,
Yeah.
cool, you're super, super nice, accommodating persona.
I'm pretty sure I'm a likable person.
You're a very likable guy.
Regardless.
You're
but
much more likable than I am.
there's no way.
Of course.
There's no
I'm
way.
lovable and accessible, but you're
Yeah.
likable,
I'm like,
which is much more important.
Okay.
Because with
I'll take that.
With love and with obsession comes disappointment and hatred. So
Yeah.
you're flying high, pal.
I appreciate you, dude. I appreciate you.
I love you dearly.
But you had your sobriety journey. How many years has it been? 7?
7
7
I
years.
think. Yeah, I quit drinking 7 years ago. I had just graduated college. People ask me, what was your reason for quitting drinking? There's a lot of them. And the reason there's a lot of them is because there's no great reason to drink.
No, it's inherently poison.
It is poison.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, whatever, pussy, drink.
No,
Sure,
yeah.
sure. That's right, too. But also what's right is there's never a choice that if you didn't drink, you made it worse. You're always helping yourself by not drinking.
100%.
I don't, by the way, I don't begrudge anybody who drinks. I have no problem not drinking because I'm not an alcoholic. I don't not drink because I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I don't drink because I'm not an alcoholic.
You just don't want to. You just don't feel like.
Okay,
it,
so I
yeah.
definitely don't feel like I need it socially.
Yeah.
Never did. Actually, would find that when I was drinking in college and I would get slammed, more often than not, I ended up emotionally in a very longing place, and also probably did something that maybe was hilarious, but also was like obnoxious.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'm already that
I've
if I
been there
feel
so
like
many
it.
times. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. So what I've learned. So this year I had like a good like sober pocket. I did sobriety for 100 days,
Wow,
which felt at the beginning of the year, mostly because of a health scare.
that's what kickstarted me.
That's what exactly. And then like once turns out everything was fine. I almost got back into it, but I definitely started to moderate myself a lot more this year than I ever have. And I want to make sure that I don't have a drink if I'm feeling low.
Yeah.
Because like if I'm drinking to like solve like get over a breakup or like something went wrong, I'm stressed, that's when I have a bad time drinking.
Right.
That's when like you make drunk texts. That's when you become an asshole, and start a fight or something like that. But I noticed that like if I make sure I'm only drinking like in like a happy sense, like if I'm like at a comedy club or like after a show, or maybe like a couple before the show to like calm my nerves a little bit, or hanging at like Olive and trying to be sociable and be part of the community, I'm always in a good mood.
Right.
I never want to drink in a bad mood, because that's when shit goes south.
I mean, that's a great
yeah
barometer to have for yourself, and I think
Yeah.
it's frankly probably solves most of the potential drinking problems. I stopped. I was at a wedding, and I was the photographer for the wedding, and they were like, it was a family friend's wedding, and they were like, when you're done, like open bar, like have a good time. I was like, great. And I got super drunk, and I didn't intend to. I just drank too much. I probably hadn't eaten.
Every open bar, it's like you don't intend to do it, but it's like
No.
it's free.
It's free. And you
like,
think when you drink a $7 beer for free, you think you got $7. That's
Yeah,
what the feeling is.
it
Oh,
is.
I'm absorbing the
This
value.
is $7.
So
In Manhattan, it's like probably $16.
16.
Yeah.
You're a rich man if you're
Yeah.
hammered at the end of the night.
Yeah.
So I get like really fucked up, and then the next day I had to go to the hospital, because here's the other thing. So this is a lot of reasons I don't drink. The top ones are I'm a type 1 diabetic, so if I drink,
Right.
it's not good for me. It's like
Yeah,
really bad.
definitely don't drink.
Hangovers
Yeah.
are awful for
Right.
me. Blood sugar gets thrown out of whack. I had to go to the hospital. And I had to get an IV for fluids, and ended up being there for like 2 days. It was just like really
That's wild.
bad. And then I was like, I didn't even go, okay, I need to
Is
quit
that how you
drinking.
figured out you were diabetic because of that, or you?
No,
you
I've been
knew?
diabetic since I was 6.
Oh wow. Okay.
Type 1, which is like, shots, insulin injections. all
Right.
that. So that was part of it. And then, there's alcoholism in my family.
Right.
And so I have always been, and still am, honestly, scared of drugs. Really
Right.
scared of drugs.
I mean, you should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the way I came up through like my formative years because of all this stuff that I went through, I lost my parents at a young age. So I was very much a big troublemaker, and I saw, I did my very fair share of drugs, for quite a bit when I was younger. And what really got me to stop, being a menace was seeing a lot of my old friends going through like, starting to use the heroin word,
Yeah.
and I was seeing, oh, this is where it takes you,
Right.
if you don't get a handle on it.
Right.
And that scared the shit out of me, because like, doing ecstasy, fucking, blow or whatever the fuck, that was like, party drugs,
Right.
doing whatever.
Party drugs when you're partying is...
But like it's the amount of people that I see on like Facebook feeds, like RIP, like in the we're talking like
crazy. It's an
20s and 30s, and it's just
Yeah.
like holy fucking shit, thank God I got out of that. And a few of my friends were lucky enough to do so too, and they're sober and they're alive, and but a lot of them did not end up that way. So like drugs are super super bad, especially if you're young. You know,
Yeah, man, and it
they
only
should be
gets-
legal. To be honest, I think drugs should be legal in a way that it's because that's how you can really treat someone who has a problem,
Right.
right? You know, like you're not gonna have fentanyl scares. You know,
I
you
mean,
get rid of the drug trade, but that's just politics at this point. I'm just like on
as
a
far
rant.
as like the
I'm just ranting
drinking
at this point.
goes, like
But
my girlfriend's from France, and like they start drinking in bars, and being served by adults when they're 16, and it's not a big deal.
yeah,
And
in Europe, yeah,
they have such a grasp on it. Like my girlfriend never gets like fucking blackout hammered.
yeah. And it's a I think the same in a lot of European countries. It is in Ecuador. I know the drinking age in Ecuador is 18. I'm Ecuadorian for all of you who don't know, and that was the first place I ever got drunk. Was in Ecuador when I was 13. Chad, bro. But
Yeah, and then also like just health and fitness. Like part of the reason I stopped drinking was like I wanted to get jacked, and it's hard to do it when you're having beers.
oh, when I stopped drinking, oh my god, I had a 6-pack earlier this year, and like now it's not a 6-pack anymore.
Trade in your 6-pack for a 6-pack.
Exactly. That's kind of what I did. I keep it to the White Claws for the carbs, and everybody gives me shit for that. Everybody calls me a pussy.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Do what I gotta do, man. I have here Hamas or ISIS.
Ooh, drink. I'll take a drink.
Yeah.
That's a toss-up. Both really great organizations. Doing
Right.
a lot of good out there.
Right. I would say Hamas are the biggest pussies.
I don't know much about them.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I haven't seen the stats.
with the tunnels,
Yeah.
ISIS is just like I'll just blow myself up.
Yeah, that's soft. That's pussy.
Yeah, I guess it's both pussy moves. So Hamas and ISIS are tied for pussies. I'll cut that. I'm gonna cut the Hamas portion of this. 9/11 or Pearl Harbor?
What's the question?
That's
Like,
the
what's
question.
the question?
That's the question.
Just which one?
Which one?
Which one? What?
Which one? Just which one?
I'll go the Alamo.
The Alamo?
Yeah.
Never forget.
No, you can't.
Yeah, it's like 9/11. 9/11 stole the Alamo's catchphrase.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a Reagan-Trump rebrand.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? The Alamo, you're not supposed to forget it. The only thing I know about the Alamo is that you're not supposed to forget it.
Yeah. You think that's how 9/11's going to end up? It's like never forget.
9/11 has, you know what's so fucked up? It's got such good visual branding because there's two towers which look like the number 11. So in my mind,
that
I
too.
just see like a cloudy
Yeah.
9 and then two smoky built. Like it's got.
I think I've seen like a
good
documentary that starts like that.
I bet.
Yeah. You can't not
No, it's a.
use, yeah.
It's a instant idea.
Yeah.
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 There's probably better things that I can say
Yeah.
to you. here on
In,
this.
in private.
Let's get deep.
Let's get deep.
What can I say?
Let's get deep, man. Where does the trauma come from? I feel like every comedian, some comedians say like you don't need to be traumatized. You don't have to have some bullshit go on for you to be a comic, but I think that's bullshit. I think the best comics like have some shit that happened.
I don't know. I mean, I think every human being in life probably has something that has made their existence very difficult. I don't know what the equation is. I don't know if the equation is you have to have trauma to be funny. I don't know if it's the trauma that makes you funny. I think some people are just funny people. Like I know plenty of people who are funny ass people that don't have like trauma. But maybe if you are a genetically funny person and you do have trauma, maybe it activates your decision making in a way that leads you to see. Like here's what I know about myself. The shit that I've been through in my life has made me into someone who makes certain types of decisions in order to feel better about himself.
Yeah.
Some of those decisions are performing. And even the way I perform is influenced by the things that I've gone through in my life.
Right.
And so inextricably from my art, from my comedy, my sense of humor, are things that I've gone through. So yeah, for me, it's part of the equation. But I'm not actively thinking about it when I go to perform. I'm not going like, oh, everything I went through with my family.
Right. But like I feel like just the personality, the character trait that it takes for someone to get on stage and like kind of you're spilling your guts, pretty much
there's got to be
in
something
a funny way.
dude. If you go on
You know?
stage for strangers
Yeah.
and you try to connect
Even
to
musicians do. A lot of musicians have drama.
them, yeah, there's something
Yeah.
wrong. Who does?
Yeah.
Nobody. Here's the thing: nobody does that except these people who do that.
Right.
Karaoke is like a joke. You do it like at a party,
Yeah.
and under the guise of this isn't real.
Yeah.
But
I love
when
karaoke.
you've made it your entire life to perform for people, things that you wrote, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a solution. For me, it's a solution to that there is something wrong.
Right.
But it starts with there being a problem that you're addressing.
Yeah.
And for me, it's probably lack of validation.
It's
maybe
definitely
feeling-
validation for me. It's definitely like, I remember since I can remember, every time I talk to like my buddies in a friend group, like I always try to like get a laugh. I've always wanted to like try to get a laugh out of somebody.
Sure.
And that always gave me like a boost of dopamine and serotonin right away. And even if like I say something that I think is, kind of dumb and it doesn't work, like it hurts, even though it's just a stupid thing that that didn't work in front of like my buddies.
Right.
So that's probably validation. That's definitely validation,
Certainly.
But I have a question.
Hit me.
How long have you been doing comedy at this point?
My first time I did it when I was 17. And then over the course of the first 3 years, I probably did it not that many times.
Okay.
But, from the time I was like sophomore in college, it was like, this is everything.
That's when you're starting to take it seriously.
Yeah, so, like, I don't know. How long since the first time I did it? 12 years? How long have I been, like, doing it 10 years?
Yeah. That's a long time.
Yeah.
And that's the marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's 10 years seems to be like the average of like, this is where, when you start to become,
Yeah. I find that I get better in new ways, but I never felt like now I'm good.
yeah. And my question, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, go.
My question when I ask how long is, do you still get nervous before you go on stage? Before you do a set?
But it depends. It's not always the same reason, and it's not always nervous. Because the thing with stand-up is that there's a different reason it can go poorly every single time you do it.
Right.
Maybe this new joke won't work. Maybe, oh, fuck, that lady is being wrong,
Right.
and I wanted to work on material. Now I got to address her.
Right.
There's a million reasons why it can go bad. So, yeah, there's always a reason to be nervous. So you can't necessarily, like, stop being nervous ever.
I'm nervous every single time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not as nervous as I was when I like first started going up, like I'd have like a mini panic attack.
I'm still confident.
Yeah.
Most of the time I'm like very confident and know I'm going to do great, but I also do definitely get like nervous.
Yeah.
Still.
I like the nerves. I feel like you need it.
It's fun. It's part of it.
Yeah, it's like it's the adrenaline rush. It's the it's cuz you care. Right. I think cuz I remember I've done a few shows this year where I went up just cocky and like not nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Like for some reason I didn't feel nervous. And the show just was not as good. And I was just like not,
Yeah.
There's something about like that fear that for some reason makes me do better up there.
Right.
Right. I don't know if that's like a common thing for you at all.
I think it makes you, it is. It makes you really present, and then you can respond to your own nerves by like making a choice.
Exactly.
That activates you.
Mm-hmm. Sweet, man. So it's not just me.
No,
that's
think it's
riddled with
everyone.
anxiety.
I think it's everyone, and it's different. It's kind of different every time. Because sometimes I fly up there and I crush from the second I start.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to go well. And then other times it's not. Like other times, like, because that's the thing is like, it's one long performance.
Yeah.
And your instrument changes every time you use it. That's how I would describe stand-up. A trumpet player, when he knows he's going to play, he opens up his trumpet case and then he plays trumpet.
Mm-hmm.
And the trumpet doesn't change.
Right.
A stand-up comedian, you're your instrument. So you're tired. You're enthusiastic.
Right.
You're sad. You're happy. Every single time you go up to, you're different.
Yeah.
Your one joke has changed.
Yeah.
It's better. It's worse. There's a million different things that can go on with you, and you are the instrument that you have to play. To
That's a
these
great way
people.
to look at it. Yeah.
It's just what it is.
That makes sense.
And then there's also a second instrument, which is the audience,
Right.
and you have to play them. You have to play your jokes through them. You're the song, and they're the instrument.
Yeah.
Right? Like.
That's like I think one of the reasons why a lot of comedians hate going first on a showcase. You know, because you can't read the crowd yet.
Yeah.
You don't know what they
Well, they're
like.
just also not ready. They're like not set up to.
Yeah. 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 A killer host is the most important part of a
Yeah.
of
You
a
need
show.
good host.
Killer host. Yeah. There's definitely plenty out there, but every now and again, like there's like maybe they were having an off day, and the crowd feels it.
Oh yeah.
And then like I'll have to go first, and I'll be like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
I hope I get them. I hope I get them back on my side.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And that all comes with the learning process. Because I feel like it's always a learning process, but I feel like I'm starting to find out like what should I not start with. Like recently, I started to open shows with new jokes. Because I'm at a point where like I'm doing more shows than like open mics and stuff like that, which I'm super grateful for this year. But like because I have the audience, I'm like, let me try these jokes, and I try the new jokes that I've never tried at the top of the set.
Right.
And it's so risky every time because the joke isn't developed. I haven't figured out the inflections. I haven't figured out the delivery, the best punchline. And then I lose them right away.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I went through a long phase of, and I still do it sometimes, open on the new stuff because that's when your energy is the most raw.
Yeah.
You can really rely on yourself
Right.
as opposed to the writing. It's just different tools you use.
Maybe the jokes just sucked and I shouldn't have done that.
Always possible too. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think here's the thing. Like it's theory of the week. Sometimes that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
To open with new, and then other times
Right.
it's totally not.
Right. Because I have before, and it has worked. I think the jokes just probably sucked.
I don't know. I'm of a mind that is like, if you like the jokes, there's a reason you wrote them. So the jokes don't suck, but maybe
There's something there, but I'm not
Yeah.
saying it right.
Yeah, sometimes they just take time
Yeah,
to like get to that place where they're really good.
they do. And I've been writing jokes since 2015. I've been writing for a while. My first open mic was 2016 when I used to live in the Lower East Side.
Oh wow.
I don't know if you remember Old Man Hustle when they were on Essex Street.
Yep.
I was friends with the bartender at the time, and it was just a late night. There was like maybe like 4 or 5 people there, and we were just like smoking weed. And he's like, the next 2 rounds are on the house if everybody does 5 minutes. And nobody was a comic. It was all just random people that walked in on like a non-comedy night. And as you remember, the stage is like right there. It's like right next to the bar. It's this small,
Always
intimate
hated that
stage. Yeah. But he said like, everybody do 5 minutes. And my dream was always to be a stand-up comic, right? And I never knew how to ever approach it or do it. But I started writing jokes. I was in New York, and I was like, wow, this is my. Let's see what happens.
It was like a sign.
So I'm stoned. I go up, do 5 minutes, and I'm getting these laughs, And he's like, "That was hilarious. You just made all that shit up." It's like some of it I just like wrote down, and some of it I just like fucked with the audience. And he was like, "Dude, come do the open mics. Like you're a natural." And I went to do an open mic, and it went great. It went fantastically. There was like a couple from Texas in the crowd, in the audience. I made fun of them, and I was like, wow, that was like the best feeling I ever had.
Wow.
And then the next 3 open mics I did at different places, which is where I really learned what pain was.
Yep.
Bomb, silence, complete nonsense.
I'll give you a story.
And then I stopped for years. I just stopped until like,
I had a couple
started
of
again.
those like false starts.
Yeah.
I remember I'd been doing like the open mics at the comic strip. I did it like 3 or 4 times there, and like on the 4th time I like had a great set, and like my friend was with me from home, And I like wrote on a napkin because the show was going on. I didn't want to like say it out loud. I was also being fucking dramatic. And it was like, we need to start hitting other places. And I like showed him the napkin because I was like, oh, like I'm about to like take the city by storm.
Yeah.
And then I just went and bombed in other places. But yeah, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, man. It's the struggle. The struggles. It turns out you're supposed to write a set. You're supposed to have a set planned out. I did not know that.
mm-hmm.
I just like made shit up and put it on my phone, and I was like, "This is gonna be hilarious."
That's the
And then I didn't even realize that like most open mics are just other comedians waiting for their turn.
yeah. Well, my girlfriend asked me. She was like, I was like, oh, I might like do an open mic with the guys today. And she was like, oh, can I come? And I was like, oh, that's like asking me to go to the gym with me.
Yeah,
Like, I'm just there to work on
Yeah.
myself.
like, you're not gonna have a good time.
Yeah, it's not a show by any stretch
No,
of
no,
the
no, no.
imagination.
No. But yeah, they're rough, man. They can be rough. Some can be fun. And I think what the way to translate it is when I was first learning is if I can get like two of them to chuckle, it will probably work on stage.
Yeah, that's
You know?
the point. Is like, what is the goal here?
Yeah.
The goal is to just find out if something like will work in the proper context, because it's not a show. It doesn't
Right.
count.
No, it doesn't.
You
It doesn't.
can't put a lot of stake in. open
No,
mics.
it's all about just like like reps.
Yeah,
It's all about
exactly.
reps.
It's about getting used to saying it out loud.
Yeah, 100%. But what else do I have here? How to get started, Hamas or ISIS, 9/11 or Pearl Harbor, Austin special, advice for young comics, and then just bullshit around.
Bullshit.
Is there anything that you haven't said, that you haven't talked about, that you want to talk about?
Good question, man.
It's your house.
Well,
You're the guest.
I guess. I don't know, man. I'm so caught in my journey of wanting people's attention and then having it and then okay, now I have it. What do I do with it? And for me, I'm just like I just want to have people's attention and for them to trust me as a creator so that they know that like what I'm going to do is worth their time, and my message is ultimately you can do what I'm doing, which is to follow your passion and allow it to help you discover a purpose.
Yeah,
Like that's kind of my message if I have one.
that's a great message. That's
Thanks.
really good, and I think it's it's just be bold and take risks,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be tough and it's lonely. It's a lonely road,
It is a lonely road.
but it's a fun road.
It
And
is a fun road.
I wouldn't trade this road, and I'd like to think I'm in the beginning of it.
Yeah.
So far I'm having a ton of fun.
I'm glad.
Yeah, man, having a blast. But so Nick has you have a new song. You have a new song,
Got a mixtape's worth of songs. Probably
right?
like,
You have a
probably
shit ton of
10.
songs.
Yeah, probably 10.
Yeah.
To be on the project.
So we're gonna shoot this music video.
Aye.
It'll be realistically cut next month, probably.
Yeah.
Like definitely the new year.
Yeah.
This is more like the chill week of the holidays,
Yeah, I think after Christmas I'll start getting a lot of shit cut together.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything you want to plug before we bounce?
Well, I mean, I guess it's all depends on like when this is out, but
Yeah.
if you're follow me on Instagram and subscribe on YouTube. Do those two things because that's where and when the special's coming, and that's how you'll see it. And I want you to see the special more than anything else.
It's
I
a
want you to
great
see the
fucking special. I can attest to that.
Thanks.
Personally, I shot all 4 shows. They were phenomenal.
Thank you, brother.
Energy's great. The crowds were great.
Thank you dearly.
So definitely keep an eye out for that. What is your Instagram?
At Mr. Nick Callas, MrNickCallas.
What is your YouTube? Tell camera A here.
YouTube's the same thing. Mr. Nick Callas.
Mr. Nick Callas.
punctuation. Yeah.
Nice. And it was shot by a 800-pound gorilla.
800-pound gorilla. So it's
Yeah.
actually going to be on their YouTube channel.
Yeah. They did great. Fun people. Oh, also shout out to Kyle. Oh no, Kurt.
Kirk. Yes.
Kirk, was also another camera guy on that.
Yes, very talented.
Super.
He's a beast.
Super nice dude. But yeah, man, I think I don't have a send off yet for the podcast to end it. Do you have any suggestions?
Tool around.
Tool around?
Tool around.
Keep tooling around. This has been Manny Tools Around. Keep tooling around.
Keep tooling.
Is that a cut? I think that's a cut.
Fuck yeah.
It's in the can. Look at me tooling around.
Manny Tools Around.
This is not a home improvement podcast.